Welcome to the Department of Geography, Environmental Studies, and Geomatics. Uh, so the way, my name is Andre Villo. I'm the Director of Undergraduate Studies, and I'll be moderating the presentation, which is live, with a panel representing our department, some students, Rebecca and Mary, and a grad student, Roxanne, grad student at the PhD. And our chair, our director of the department, Mark Sanner, for an introductory uh, word to begin. So I'll be back at towards the end to talk about co-op and other stuff before we move on to questions, a small period of questions, perhaps 10 minutes. For everyone that's joined us, remember that putting on your camera is optional. It's voluntary. You don't have to. And that this meeting is being recorded for other students that could not make this presentation. It'll be available on all week on the Easy Virtual Fair kiosk under Arts. Uh, so I'll begin with Mark Sanner, our director.
Okay, thanks, Andre. Good evening, everybody. So I just want to spend a very brief moment introducing the department, and then I hand it over to our students and also to Andre for more specific questions. So I just want to give you some big picture views. I should maybe start to tell you that I myself, I have done in my career a lot of different jobs. I started as a scientist, worked as a scientist, then decided to study philosophy as a second career, and then got into running an ethics center, being a director in an NGO, building an institute for science and society on campus. So I've done a lot of things. And out of this really I ended up in geography relatively late. I came to the conclusion that there's really a lot of value in the breadth of the experience and the interdisciplinary topics like geography provide. You know, when you start studying, you may think that the best bet is to get into something where you have a clear linear path, where you know exactly what you will have at the end of the process. But given the people I had to hire in my life and just the job experience, it's actually specialization you can always acquire later on the job. What is really important to gain at the university is to find your own path. And in a subject matter like geography, environmental studies, and geomatics, you have really tremendous options to stay a generalist, you know, become a generalist, which also means being very functioning in complex teams and in complex working in complex subject matter, like, you know, climate change, COVID, etc. You also have an opportunity at some point to specialize. So you can be a specialized technical person, scientist, or social scientist. That's available also, but you don't have to decide right at the beginning. And both is actually very valuable. It's a matter of personal talent and choice. But if you select a topic like this, where you have professors from all kinds of different disciplines and courses with students from all kinds of different places, you will get a training and the competence and also respect and empathy for other disciplines that is very valuable. And I can say that because I have often hired people who changed careers. It does happen. And if you set yourself up to find what you really like, I think you're on a good path. So that's kind of my pitch for a broad topic like geography, environmental studies, and geomatics. And I will actually stop now and hand it over to our students to give you some real insight in how things work. Maybe I give it back to Andre first.
Thanks, Mark. Now over to two current students at the undergraduate level to talk about our website. and the different programs and that are offered throughout the department. So over to you, Mary and Rebecca.
Great, thanks very much. So, hi everyone, my name is Mary Stewart. I'm a third year undergraduate student in the Environmental Studies program with a minor in Indigenous Studies. So, I'm originally from Kitchener, which is in Southern Ontario, which is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, the Neutral, and the Mississauga peoples. So, I've always been quite passionate about the natural world, and this only grew as my understanding for environmental issues grew from field trips to the recycling center when I was quite young to learning about pollution and climate change. And from that point on, I knew that I wanted to do something in the environmental field. And then from there, what brought me to Ottawa and to the Department of Geography, Environment, and Geomatics was really the interdisciplinary nature of the programs, as well as the idea of studying in the nation's capital, the proximity to Gatineau Park, and then, of course, also being able to study in both English and French. So, since arriving in Ottawa and starting my program, I've also become quite passionate about climate justice, and I've been able to organize with a few different groups in the city and then help start a climate justice group at the university. And I found it really interesting to pair knowledge that I've gained just from attending events and things, also with what I learn in my courses. And in my courses, I've really appreciated gaining a variety of perspectives from taking classes in the social sciences and arts, and as well as in science and geography. And then I'm also currently working for the department through the work study program that will probably be touched on a little bit later in this presentation. And this has been really informative and enriching to me to further my understanding of carbon accounting, of environmental policy, and all of this is just really related to my program. And I'll pass it off to Rebecca.
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Rebecca. I'm originally from Hamilton, Ontario, and I'm also a third year honors BA student with a specialization in environmental studies, and I also have a minor in communications. I chose U Ottawa because I wanted to continue to surround myself in a French environment like the city of Ottawa, since I have done French immersion my whole life. I also found the program sequence extremely interesting, and the different courses that U Ottawa and the department has to offer are ones that kind of just stood out to me more. And I've always had a passion for the environment and environmental protection more specifically. And I really wanted to put that towards educating myself to be able to make a difference in the future. And I also added my communications minor in my second year, since I believe that it kind of goes hand in hand with my specialization. And just like Mary, I also am doing a work study currently with the department. And we work on the student newsletter, which is called Navigation, and it's kind of a more communications look on the department. So that's kind of cool. And it just kind of shows the different opportunities that you can do within our department.
Yeah, so now Rebecca's going to screen share so that we can show you some of the website, how to get to it, and continue chatting about the department.
Yeah, so what you can do is just type up U Ottawa Geography, and it will be the first link right here to get to the department's website.
So one thing that I found was pretty overwhelming when I was choosing a university a few years ago, and that I still think about from time to time, is how to frame my program in the larger picture. So I mentioned before that I appreciate the interdisciplinary nature of programs offered through the department, and I want to explain that just a little bit more. So any given program in this department, it doesn't just teach you about environmental issues or say physical geography, but every program's tailored to help you gain a dynamic understanding of our Earth, of issues facing people on the planet, and the way humans interact with one another and with the natural world. So I found that being able to draw connections between topics and themes in my courses, as I've mentioned, has been quite rewarding. And within the department, it's great getting to learn hard skills like geographic information systems, or say learning about environmental assessments and policy. But what's really great is gaining a better understanding of how these things work in society and how to apply that knowledge. And from here, yeah, we're going to start talking to you about the different programs offered by the department.
Yeah, so if you just click on undergraduate programs here, it'll bring you to a page with all of the undergraduate programs within our department. So I'm going to start off with explaining the difference between an honors program versus a major and a minor program. And you'll see by clicking on the program structure, you'll get more information on this. So honors program requires students to complete 120 course units, whereas major programs only require 42 units to be completed. And the honors program also allows students to complete an honors essay in their 4th year, which is a really great option for students who are considering pursuing a master's degree in the future. But if you still aren't sure what you want to do in the future when the time comes, and you do decide to go into an honors program, an honors essay is not required. So also you can just see here by clicking for, let's say, a major in geography, the program structure states that it's only 42 units that are required. And I'm also going to start off with explaining a little bit about our geography program. So as you can see here, we offer a number of program options for students interested in our geography program. This includes the choice to mix a number of different majors, minors, as well as options. And each of these choices have a link in which you can see what the program sequence consists of. This is actually just a really great thing since it helps a lot when it comes time to select courses, and also just getting a closer look into what you would be taking with each program. I also know, for me at least, I really love to plan. So being able to see everything laid out in front of me like this has helped a lot. And also another thing that's really great and special about the department is that if you want to have a Bachelor of Science as an undergrad, you don't have to register. And this is available with a major in physical geography or geomatics. And as well, just to touch on the geography department a little bit more, there's a lot of different options between physical and human geography. So as you go through it, you can see which one is more to your liking and you can decide with that.
Great, yeah. So I'll touch briefly on the environmental studies program. So as you see, there's a tab directly for this program. So environmental studies focuses on environmental issues, but this program looks at them both from a scientific perspective, but also understanding social, political, and economic implications. And this allows students to critically analyze environmental problems from a local to national and international scale. So as you can see, again, there are a few different options with this program, including you can do this program as a bilingual program or unilingual, so in English or French. And what's great is there's a lot of flexibility in terms of courses. So you can choose from many different electives. You can choose to add a minor or a major. And this allows you to really tailor the program depending on what your interests are and what you think you might want to do after your undergraduate degree. So there's also an option that's going to be added very, very soon in the Anthropocene that Professor Vio will be speaking about in a little bit. And so from there, I'll also briefly touch on the Geomatics option. So if we go back up again, you can find that tab. So yeah, there are options to add a minor in geomatics and spatial analysis, or to add a geomatics option to your degree. So the minor is great for students who are interested in examining spatial phenomena and learning how to use technologies like geographic information systems and remote sensing technology. And this minor requires 30 course credits, so that's a few classes. And then there's also the option in geomatics that can be added to most programs in the Faculty of Arts that allows students to understand more about information technologies to manage spatial data. And this can be applied to a huge range of fields, including epidemiology, environmental monitoring, urban planning, and criminology. So just another way that, geography is super, and GIS is super relevant for a bunch of other fields.
Yeah, so we also want to take a minute to talk about and let you know about the amazing profs that are involved within our department. So on the website here, if you look under people and go to professors, a list of professors will be provided. So I'm just going to talk about, to start, Professor Dawson. Not only are the department's professors doing amazing work in the classrooms, but also outside in their fields as well. So for example, Professor Dawson, I had this professor last year for the course ENV 3321, and it's called Human Policy Dimensions of Environmental Change, which is a mandatory course in environmental studies. So if you do decide to go into environmental studies, you'll probably have to take this course. And Professor Dawson was actually an amazing prof to have this course with, since she is the Canada Research Chair in Environment, Society, and Policy, and is also an applied scientist that works with environmental change in ocean and coastal regions. And Professor Dawson is also considered an expert in a number of different categories, such as Arctic marine transport, Indigenous community development, as well as ocean governance. And one of the things I really enjoyed about her course is kind of how attending class didn't really feel like class. It felt more interactive and informative. And the experience that Jackie has in the field also provided us with the opportunity to ask questions of someone who really knows firsthand what's going on. So I think that was a really great opportunity to have.
Yeah, that sounds like such a fantastic course. So to touch on more the sort of physical geography side of things, I want to briefly highlight Professor Lukovich, who was my professor for a GEG 3107. That's a third year course called Geography of Polar Regions. So Professor Lukovich has been researching permafrost for over 40 years, has been the president of both the International and Canadian Permafrost Associations, and is a fellow of the Arctic Institute of North America and the Royal Canadian Geographical Society. So his accolades go on, but what I want to share is how meaningful it was to take a course where I was able to learn from his direct experience. So Professor Lukovich brings his expertise and his passion into all of his lectures, and it was just really enriching taking a course, especially with school being online on Zoom, to feel his passion kind of shining through. It's also great to see pictures that he's taken himself in the Arctic and Antarctic and all of his PowerPoint presentations. So this particular course that I took with him was really interesting to me because it combined information on physical processes within the polar regions with societal and human implications. So just another way of kind of getting a well-rounded introduction and understanding to the polar regions.
Yeah, and also another really great professor within the geomatics and also the urban studies field is Dr. Cow. Dr. Cow's main study focus is with minority-majority spatial inequalities in Francophone and Acadian communities in Canada, and his main specialization is teaching urban studies, particularly on topics related to city, population, mobility, and environment from an international perspective with the use of advanced geospatial and statistical analysis. So it kind of is with both of the geomatics part and the urban studies part. And Dr. Cow teaches courses at UOttawa, such as Urban Geography Field Camp, Development of Cities in China, Geography and the Population, and also many more. And once again, just kind of having a really knowledgeable and experienced professor like Dr. Cow in the classroom really changes the university experience.
So now we've highlighted just only 3 professors in the department, but you can go and read about all of our excellent professors from this main homepage. And also, if you take time to go through the department's website, you might notice that the department is a bit small compared to some other departments. And this is also reflected in class size. So especially once you get into the upper years, like I think Rebecca and I are both beginning to experience this especially, the class sizes kind of thin out, and this allows for a lot more hands-on learning and great conversations with professors and peers directly, which is quite an enriching experience because you speak directly to people that are experts in the field that you're interested in, and you get closer and chat more with your peers that have similar interests as you.
Yeah, and also to touch on student life, we also have a great student association within the department, and that's called Gaia. So on the website, if you go under undergraduate programs and click on the Gaia Student Association, it'll bring you to their page. Gaia offers a number of events actually throughout the school year to helping get other students within the department familiar with each other. And they also have their own office, which was just newly renovated. And it's kind of great to have that it's the actual thing that you can go to. And having a student association within the department is also just a great way to get to know people within your classes and within your programs. And like Mary said, when you get into your later years of school, it's just really nice to have that community feeling within the department. And Gaia also has an Instagram page that you can check out, and it's Gaia_Iwatawa, and you can see their different giveaways and their events that they have here. And it's just a really great student association.
Yeah, one thing that's cool maybe to know is that even though it's been remote learning this year, Gaia has still done giveaways and things online. So they're still quite active, which is just really exciting. So thanks everyone for listening to us speak. Next, we're going to pass things off to Roxane Frappier to speak to us about her perspective as a graduate student.
Thank you. So, hi, my name is Roxane. I'm a PhD student at the Department of Geography, Environment, and Geomatics, but I also did my undergraduate degree at the department as well as my Master's of Science. So I'm here to talk to you guys about the different experiences and opportunities that we have at the department. So I'm going to take you again to the website. Oh, sorry. Let me just share my screen. There we go. So I'm taking you guys again under this tab here, which is called Why Study With Us. So I think Rebecca and Mary touched upon many different reasons why studying with us is important, is interesting. But what I want to talk about first are the facilities. So we have state-of-the-art laboratories that are equipped with cutting-edge software and computers that you will use during your studies for example, for mapping or for analyzing satellite imageries or aerial photographs. You'll also learn to work with climate data. So there's a bunch of different analysis that you'll be doing during your degree with us. We also have a physical geography laboratory, as you can see here. And this laboratory is equipped with instruments and equipments that are used to gather data in the field and to analyze them. So for example, you could collect water samples or sediment samples in the field and bring them back to the lab for analysis under the microscope. We also have stereoscopes, for example, that are instruments that are used to see aerial photographs in 3D. So these are just examples of the types of analyses that you would get to do in the different labs at the department during your studies. Now, if we go back again to the reasons why to study with us, the other thing I want to talk to you guys about are the field courses here. So if we scroll down first, there are excursions. So many courses have a field component, which means you get to go in the field a couple of times during the semester for an hour and 30 minutes or 3 hours, depending. And you get to make observations, collect samples, make measurements, and observe different types of natural processes. So for example, here, if I take you just at the bottom here for the quaternary paleogeography courses, what we see here on this rock are nice stripes that are an indication of the direction of the glacier that was covering our region about 20,000 years ago. So this is just some examples of field excursions that you get to do when you study with us. Then we're going to go here to this tab that's called local field course. So at the end of your first year and at the beginning of your second year, all students enrolled at the department go on a field course, a week-long field course, which is called Introduction to Field Research, where you will get to explore field methods for environmental studies, human geography, and physical geography. So that allows you to explore the different field methods that are used for these three different field of expertise in the department. If I take you now to the National Field Courses tab, so when you're in your fourth year, depending on the program that you choose in the department, you will have to take another field course. But this time, because you will have had the opportunity to explore the different field of studies, field of expertise at the department, then you will know more what you like. So you'll get to choose between environmental studies field research, northern field research, urban geography field research, or physical geography field research. So these are more specialized. So for example, if we go here to the environmental studies field research, this one is in the Georgian Bay region. And this is a course where you will get to study the importance of national parks for mitigating climate changes, for example. But if you click on the tab here, you'll get a lot of information on each of these field courses. There are also a couple of international field courses options. So you can also choose between these international field courses for your fourth year field course. So for example, we have tropical field research in Zanzibar. The Yukon, Alaska course is also here. And then you can also choose to study glaciology field research in Iceland or Norway. And there's also a course in New York City. So these are just examples of different options that you have throughout your studies for field research.
Is having technical difficulties here.
We're having, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Okay, now we can.
Oh, okay. You
Okay.
lost me?
Yeah, I lost you for a little bit there.
Okay. When about?
About when you switched to international.
Okay. So yeah, so I'll just repeat that part then. So for your fourth year field course, you get to choose between national field courses, but there are also international field courses options. So for example, there is tropical field research in Zanzibar, northern field research again in the Yukon and Alaska, glaciology field research in Iceland or Norway, and there's also a course in New York City. So these are just examples of the different field excursions and research that you get to do during your studies at the department. Now, I'm also a graduate student at the department. Like I said, I did my master's degree and I'm now a PhD candidate. So I want to touch a little bit on graduate programs. So if you click on here, you'll get to see all the different programs that you can enroll in once you're done your bachelor's degree. So basically, you'll, like Mary and Rebecca said, it's a small department, which means you get to talk a lot with the professors. You get to know them, you get to know their field of expertise, and you may decide that you want to further your knowledge in one of those fields. So you could continue for Masters of Arts in Geography, for example, if you're interested in human geography or urban geography. You can also get a Master's of Science in Geography at the department. So for example, if you're interested more in physical geography. If you want to know more about the different types of research that you could do, you could go to this tab here, which is called Research. And then you can get more information again on professors, the graduate students, the type of research that they're doing. And just to talk a little bit more about the different field of expertise, we have many professors that are specialized in cities, cultures, and social change. We have professors that are more specialized in polar and mountain environments, so glaciers as well as permafrost. And we have professors that are specializing in environmental change and risk adaptation. So for example, at the end of your bachelor's degree, you could decide to continue on and study the melting of glaciers or food security in the Aboriginal communities in the north, for example. And that's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you, Roxanne. Okay, so it's back to me to wrap up, but there's two things or three things I'd like to mention before we open ourselves up to questions. So I'm going to share my screen here. So as you can see, I'm back at our homepage on the website at artsuottawa.ca geography. And now I'm going to go back to undergraduate programs, let's say geography. And I want to talk about these options here. There's the urban studies option, and there's also a geomatics option presently. And these options are small sequences of courses that you have to take, which will give you some what we call micro credentials. So this option will appear on your official transcript if you satisfy the requirements of the geomatics option, for example. Like for the geomatics option, it's 12 course unit option. So you basically have 4 courses to take, while the urban, I believe, is just one, is three courses required. And I'm here to say that we've also developed this year a new option that might be interesting to new students, which is called the Anthropocene option. So again, this will give you micro credentials on your official transcript for eventual employers. And this Anthropocene, the Anthropocene is simply refers to the time when humans began to impact our environment. So since the Industrial Revolution, and the option itself has sort of different streams. You can tailor them if to environmental studies, to more towards physical geography and climate change, or even in the cities. So so this Anthropocene option will be made available. It's not on the website presently, but it will be made available sometime in June this summer. So it'll be available for new students starting in fall. So do look at these options because they do give you something which is called micro credentials, and with employers, sometimes that can make the difference between hiring somebody. Oh no, but he took the option here, so we're going to hire this person. It fits more within our mandate, or things like that. The second thing that I want to talk about is about the co-op, so work study. So again, you go back to the original homepage of our department. Why study with us? And under the tab Work While You Study, you click, and you have several options to work while studying. And one of them is co-op, the other one is the work study program that Rebecca and Mary talked about. So they're working for the department. These are contracts, they're paid for. There's also Europe, which is the Undergraduate Research Opportunity Program, which is a sort of like working under a professor for a certain amount of uh, of hours, and the professor initiates that student to research. Okay, so it could be data collecting, it could be lit review, it could be all kinds of things, but it's an initiation to actual research. There's other options also. So I'm going to really talk here about the co-op program. So the co-op program, if you click on it, you have your admission requirements on the page, and you also have your work term and when you should take them. So basically, it starts in the second year. So you apply using using the website, and you will be placed by a department that works for us, the co-op placement office. And some of the employers that in geography, environmental studies, or geomatics, we're looking mostly at the public sector that hire. So City of Ottawa, National Capital Commission, Natural Resource Canada, Climate Change Canada, etc. So you get to work there for a term, for a session, and you are paid. There's examples here of student salaries here for 2020. So you are paid while working and studying. So that works towards your co-op honors program. And you see that it's pretty competitive here for your work terms. So $17.77 an hour, etc. But what's most important about the co-op option is the opportunity to work with potential employers. We've seen this time and time again, where if you do a good impression at a certain department or governmental agency, uh, a lot of times these students are rehired for their second work term and eventually hired. So it's a good opportunity or way in for those of you interested in the public sector. There's also the private sector that has placements, uh, but by far it's the public sector that look for co-op students. So again, visit this web page, which is on our department. Like I said, you just go to the home page and just follow why we study here, why study with us, and then you go into over here, you go into work while you study. So it's great opportunities.